Good evening. I'm Wanda Lloyd, journalist, author, editor, and podcaster, and I'm delighted to be here to lead this live discussion with my friend, my co-editor of Meeting at the Table, African American Women Write on Race, Culture, and Community, and my podcast co-host, novelist Tina McElroy Ansa. Welcome to this discussion, Just What is a Writer's Retreat? This event is brought to you by the Sea Island Writers Retreat, for which I'm honored to be Associate Director. Thanks to our partners at Chromatic Black for powering this discussion, and the 2022 Sea Island Writers Retreat, which will be held November 2nd through 6th on Tybee Island, Georgia. Chromatic Black is a collective of artists and activists across a spectrum of creative disciplines, disrupting the master narrative with good storytelling. Tina McElroy Ansa is the consummate storyteller. She founded the Sea Island Writers Retreat in 2004, and in 2007, she founded Down South Press, which published her 5th novel, Taking After Madeir. Tina is the award-winning and best-selling author of 4 other novels, Baby of the Family, Ugly Ways, You Know Better, and The Hand I Fan With. And all of them are set in the fictional town of Mulberry, a community influenced by Macon, Georgia, where Tina grew up listening to stories told by her elders and the folks who frequented the juke joints that her parents owned. She began her career after graduating from Spelman College in Atlanta, and that's where Tina and I met when we were assigned as freshman year roommates. After Spelman, Tina worked as an editor and writer for the Atlanta Constitution and later the Charlotte Observer in North Carolina. In addition to founding the Sea Island Writers Retreat, she has been a freelance writer with work appearing in magazines, newspapers, short story collections, nonfiction anthologies, and online publications. I wanted to share all of that because it's important to know that this woman knows what good writing is and she knows how to teach it. So, hey, Tina, and are you ready to get started?
Wanda, you know me, I'm born ready. Let's go.
We are in that season, right? When we are born ready.
Yeah,
everything.
We know a few things, as our website, as our podcast says, and we're happy to teach them. I'm looking forward to sharing everything, even this evening. I'm looking forward to sharing information with emerging and established writers. Anybody who's on board.
Absolutely. And I see you got your water there with your mason jar. So that might end up being some wisdom on our podcast sometime.
I poured it into a glass.
Oh, you put it in a glass. Okay.
My mama wouldn't let me drink out of a mason jar on TV.
Okay. She had a mason jar, y'all, before we came on live. Okay, so let's get started since you are born ready. So Tina, the Sea Island Writers Retreat gives African American women writers and emerging writers the opportunity to learn from an outstanding faculty in a beautiful location. You often talk about the importance of place. So let's listen to this first before we start talking about the sense of place. Let's listen to this quick video, and then I want to ask you about your passion for sense of place as a writer.
Okay.
I founded the Sea Island Writers Retreat in 2004.
Of course, we had the pandemic, and so we really hadn't seen the retreat in a while. And I started encouraging her to do the retreat again. You have this passion, Tina. You need to help emerging writers.
We have these wonderful authors and playwrights actually editing the work. We have to learn to love each other quickly because we have only 4 days. The retreat shows you that you are whatever you say you are.
We're starting with sense of place because of the fact that you live on one of the sea islands, St. Simon's Island, Georgia, which is about 80 miles south of where I am in Savannah, Georgia. Tell us, why is it important?
And about 80 miles south of where Tybee Island is, where our Sea Island
exactly, where we're going to have the retreat. Tell us why it's important that this retreat is held in the Sea Islands.
As you well know, the Sea Islands have so influenced my writing. I was born in Macon, Georgia, which is in the middle of the state with just a muddy river running through it. But I've always been drawn to the ocean. And the times that I was here, it's been just so evocative. And so very early on in my marriage, my husband and I decided we were going to come back here and live on St. Simon's Island. So it was always a dream of ours, and we did do it. And when I came here, I thought, that I was really a Southerner, but I really felt the depth of the sense of place on St. Simon's Island. And I know that it has to do with all the Sea Islands. I know it has to do with the fact that so much of our stuff, Black people's stuff, not just the plantations, but the iron wrought, beautiful iron wrought balconies in Savannah, the Spanish moss, everything I found worked toward my sense of myself as a writer and as a creator. Do we have some news? I see you're smiling. Do we have some news?
No, we're gonna talk about sense of place, and then we're gonna see the video.
And then
continue.
Yeah, that's a great plan. And so my sense of being a Southerner, of being, in Georgia, my home state, and coming back here. But when I moved back to St. Simon's Island, as I said, it was a different kind of depth. I kind of felt like I had come home. You're from here, Wanda, so when you come home, you really come home. But when I came here, I just felt the sense of the spirits that are here, the neighborhood even that I live in, it's an old neighborhood. So I wanted to bring that same sense of place and the importance of that in a writer's life, especially a Southern writer's life, but in all writers' life, that sense of place anchors you. Whether you write about, whether I ever write about St. Simon's Island or not, it has anchored me in a place where I felt strong and, productive. And, and I found that to be true of any of my earlier Sea Island Writers Retreats where, we had them on Sapelo Island, on St. Simon's Island, and all the participants said the same thing. That sense of, they took that home with them, that sense of St. Simon's Island and all of our ancestors and our blood and our sweat and our tears. It's right here, Wanda. It really is, as you well know. And it speaks to a writer. It speaks to a creator.
Yeah. So we're going to segue back to the video now. And while they're queuing it up, I'm going to say, you mentioned that I was smiling. Someone just texted me and said, you both look so pretty. So I just want to give you that smile too. I'm passing it on.
We love our we're ladies of a certain age. It's terrible, but we love our compliments. You know how you remember little old ladies in church when you would say, "Oh, Miss So-and-so, you look so pretty in that hair," and they would just giggle. That's what we do.
Yeah. Okay, we're ready for that sense of place video.
Okay.
A retreat is literally where you take yourself away from the regular day. So the first night we just travel in, we get settled, we find our places. We walk to the beach probably in the evening. That'll be nice. And that's why we love to have it on the Sea Islands. Besides the fact how evocative they are. As for writers, it is our privilege to write. It's our privilege to create. And in this place, if I open up a little bit, my spirit is guided.
So last year, when you and I started having conversations about workshopping and retreats for writers, I asked you to define workshopping for me because I didn't know what it meant. I wrote my memoir, Coming Full Circle, without workshopping. So what's different about a retreat as opposed to taking the writing journey all by yourself?
Exactly. Well, Mom, you and I did a little bit of workshopping, a little bit, but not in the sense of what we're talking about here. Workshopping is just what it says. It is taking your work and going to a group of people, having a group of people, preferably with a leader, the way that we have a leader, a competent leader who's been published and knows what she's talking about, and taking the work and sharing it among the writers. And one of the things that it does, number one, for many writers, they've never shared their work. Number two, you get all that feedback, not just one editor's feedback, for instance, but you get others who are writers and readers who are in that same group. You found your people. That's the good thing about workshopping. You find your people who are interested in writing and making some progress. The other thing that comes into play is that everybody criticizes everybody's work, which sounds like, oh, it may be, pandemonium. No, it's not. Because if I'm criticizing your work tonight, then tomorrow you get to critique and criticize my work. So it keeps it all sort of in balance. And we have rules. We have rules for our workshopping, no mean girl, no getting back at anybody, all those kinds of things. Let people finish their conversation. Let them talk about their work as long as you want them. So we have all these. It's valuable. It's intense. You have real growth because, instead of sitting with your own manuscript going over and over, and after a while you don't know what's good, you don't know what's bad, and you take out the good parts, you don't know. So you need some outside influence. But the good thing about our workshops is they're led by brilliant writers themselves. So it's not just the 5 people in the workshop critiquing each other's work. You have somebody at the head of it critiquing the work, and so the discussion and the response from your work and the feeling of camaraderie, the feeling that you're not alone. Oh my goodness, I can't tell you how many retreaters we've had who said, I never ever thought there were other people having it. So that's the biggest value of workshopping, especially with a brilliant leader. And that's what we have.
Well, thank you for reminding me that we did some one-on-one workshopping when I was writing my memoir. You know what, you hit that fact that what we really are doing is workshopping. I'm just not going to tell you that's what it is. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So Tina, since we released the information about the 2022 retreat, I've heard from a few writers who said, I don't think that I belong in this retreat because I haven't published a book yet. Or even a few who said that they had already published and I may not need this workshop thing anymore. So what would you say to emerging writers who are already in the early stages of working on a writing project? And what would you say to experienced writers about why they should attend?
Well, I tell you, the people who had the joy of attending your recent TEDx Savannah talk, Wanda.
Oh, there she goes. Oh my goodness.
I have to say, come on, writers. Come on now. You gotta be braver than that. Come on now.
Tina is teasing. Hold on, Tina. We have to explain. Tina is teasing me because I had a call and response, and I said, "Come on now," and I told the audience, "You can say, So you can say it one more time. What you said. Come on now. Say it again.
Come on now, writers. Absolutely. Sure. It really does take a sense of worth, a sense of your work's worth, to really spend money, time, your heart, because sharing your work is sharing your heart. And I want people to know that I understand this. And I understand, writers can be timid, especially writers who haven't been published, or writers who are just emerging writers who are just deciding, this manuscript that I put in a drawer, or these pages I put in a drawer 20 years ago, this really is a good story. This really might be something. All those writers, including writers who are established, because one of the things that established writers find out is that they have not had an editor. For most parts, people, publishers don't edit anymore. They don't line edit. They don't send you back a editorial letter telling you whether you're going in the right direction or not. And for established writers, it's just as important to have this sense of camaraderie, other people responding to their work, especially, I would think it's as much for established writers who are trying to figure out how to feel their way to that next book, or that third book. Is my audience out there? Because everyone who is in these workshops is a reader. So you not only have the benefit of the other 14 or 15 retreaters and their sense of themselves as a writer, but they're going to respond to you as a writer and a reader. And so it's very beneficial. And I say again, come on now, you would stand up for your child. You would stand up for your best friend to get the right job. You would stand up. Oh gosh, you whip somebody about your mate. But stand up for yourself. Stand up for your writing. That's what I'm encouraging people to do. If you've had it for so long and I know there are folks out there who just know in their soul that this work that they've been working on and working on and working on is really valuable. So I just ask y'all to come on now, pull up them big girl panties and be aware that we're gentle. We always say, no pressure, just progress. And that's one of our mottos, because we don't want to scare off, anybody. The very idea that we're scaring off some wonderful Toni Morrison, just, oh Lord, that just sends chills through me. So, think about it again. If you're a writer and you're serious about your writing and you want to be published, or you want to show your child that you can really finish something, or you want to, for any of those reasons, we're anxious for you to join us.
Well, can I add that many first-time writers, when they're published, become bestsellers, like Baby of the Family by Tina McElroy Arthur. Your first book became a New York Times bestseller. So you just never know, right?
Yeah. It's important also to value yourself. This is another step you have to take. When I tell you to be brave, I'm telling you to be brave about a lot of things, and that's valuing yourself. Because I assure you, everybody's not going to tell you you need to come to this retreat. There are going to be lots of people saying, girl, you've been working on that thing for your whole life. You're never going to finish that book. You have to drown out those voices and listen to your heart. And listen, if your heart says that this is a good, valuable work, and that you should, invest in it and continue with it, then that's what I say. That's what I say. But, be brave for your work.
I'm going to have a conversation with Tina. I might have to trademark, come on now, because she's just ripping me off.
I have used that more than you did, Wanda, haven't I? Lord, I'm sorry.
Okay.
At least I'm honest.
Yeah. So we're going to move on.
Okay.
One of the most important parts of the application is that writers must submit up to 10 pages of work in progress. That's whether you're writing fiction or nonfiction, poetry, you must submit the work. Why is it mandatory?
The playwriting.
And playwriting, yes. And you're going to talk about all the different aspects in a few minutes, but why is this?
But still 10 pages.
Yes, up to 10 pages, up to 10 pages. I think the application says 5 to 10 pages or something like that. So why is this a mandatory step in the application? Why do I have to send you what I'm working on?
Because what other reason are you coming here for? I mean, if you're not working on something and you don't have 10 pages to share now, and that could be 10 lousy pages. Don't clean, like I tell folks, don't clean up the house before the maid comes, okay? The reason you're sending it in is to get help. So don't think you have to clean it up. But, we want it to be in good, in good shape, like you would submit to, any professional organization, but we want a 12 point or larger, double spaced, 5 to 10 pages. Well, all we need is for the pages to make sense. They can be 10 pages from the end of your work. They can be 10 pages from the middle, but they have to be continuous pages so it makes sense, not just 2 pages from here, 2 pages from here, 2 pages from here. The biggest part of this, though, is...
You didn't drop that mason jar, did you, Tina?
No, it was a bowl. I was going to use the bowl for something else. I got all kinds of little traps around here. I tell you, everybody come in here, they would just fall over. But the biggest part of of having that work is that, as like I said, if you don't have a work that you're working on now, then you don't need to be on you haven't progressed enough. But most people really do if they sit down and look at what they've had, what they've worked on a long time ago, what they're working on now. They probably do have that. And we want you to apply if you have that. If you don't have that, why don't you start working on toward that and catch us the next time. But we do want people who have works in progress, because those are the people we can help, Wanda. I mean, because we're not starting from scratch. What we're doing is helping you get back on track. Oh, I'm so glad we're on video, because I'm always trying to show people what I mean. But I think that folks don't need to have some editor over their shoulder all the time. What they need is with somebody, they're a little off track, and they just need to be put on track. and zoom, they go off. And this is what the Writers Retreat does. I think about it all the time. It's not, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do, wait a minute, you got a little off track. I think you started out with a good idea. Let's think about it. So you have the chance to have those kind of conversations with each other, but particularly with our, esteemed faculty. That's the best part, that you get to talk to people about your work who are, who've already done it.
Okay. So the next thing I want to talk about is African American women. This retreat is for African American women.
Yes, it is.
So talk about the culture, the comfort of learning in an environment where the students, if you will, call them students, and the faculty will all be African American women, right? I mean, there's going to be some black women up in there, right?
Hey, the crew too. Well, this is my chance. The mother of my godchild, Georgine Best, who is one of the testimonials who came to the writers' workshop. One of her favorite sayings is the great Ntozake Shange, who wrote in her novel Sassafras, Cypress, and Indigo, where there is a woman, there is magic. And what we found out is where there are Black women gathered, there is specific magic, Wanda. That sense of a safe place, because we work very hard to have a safe place. That's what I was saying. Everybody is a woman. Everybody, who enters there and walks through there, all our people are being women. And that's one level of safeness, but safety. But the other level of safety is knowing that you're surrounded by people who know you culturally, who understand you culturally, who won't question, well, why is over here they calling her Sally Mae, but over here they calling her Little Sal? Is that the same person? Is that somebody? All those kinds of things that we know. We, meaning people of color, Black people, Black women, African American women, know instinctively things that we've been taught, things that we've seen in our life. Those kinds of things come to play when you're gathered together like this. And this is a safe place. Like I said, we have rules of engagement, so everybody feels safe in the workshops. We have places that are meaningful in relaxation, meaningful in inspiration, meaningful in all kinds of ways. And we try to have as much of that as possible. You and I always talk about people looking for a safe place. Wanda and I've been putting out mommy vibes lately. And so we're getting all our children.
All these calls are coming in, right?
Oh my goodness. Do not get him started. But one of the things that I do know is that the faculty that we've chosen, the crew that we've chosen, and hopefully the students that we choose will all appreciate the fact that this is culturally welcoming and understanding. We hope that it's sensitive, to people's needs. We run it like women, we run it we don't run it from the bottom up, we run it from the middle, any way that it goes and any way that it works. And so it's a very deeply female woman, Black woman space. And to me, that's important, whether you're talking about cookbooks or whether you're talking about historical fiction, regardless of what you're talking about, you got to feel safe. That's what I always say. You gotta feel safe. And maybe this is just the woman writer in me, and maybe male writers don't feel this. We'll have to ask them one day. But what I know is that, as a woman and as a Black woman, that feeling of safety, of my sister having my back, of this one over here, applauding me and saying, we have nights when people read, and they can read from their works. And this one over here is saying, yeah, girl, go on and read. I mean, you have all these kinds of I have all.
So we're encouraging each other the whole way.
The whole way.
Absolutely.
Of this. Yeah. So okay, we need to move on.
So you said we have to ask the brothers someday. So brothers, if you're listening or if you're thinking about a retreat, we're gonna have to help you find a retreat so y'all can have that bro conversation, because this is all about the ladies, all about the women. So
where there is women, there are women,
there's magic. Okay. Now you just talked about faculty, and you have put together an awesome group of writers. You and I are on the faculty of 7 writers, but let's look at the other 5, because y'all already know us. So tell us about this group and what the writers will learn from them.
Well, the first thing I have to tell you is these women are so generous. They're so generous in the fact that they said yes before they knew anything about it, before, they answered the call. That's the first thing I want you to know.
They knew you.
They all knew me, and I know them, and we've cared about each other for a while. And that's the other thing about sisterhood, the fact that they answered my call so quickly. I just have to say that. Okay, first we have Dolan Perkinsville.
Can you say
best-selling author of her latest "Take My Hand," the historical fiction novel about set in 1973, and it's based on the sterilization of the discovery of sterilization that was being done by HUD, Housing
on minors, on children,
on
girls,
children,
yes,
on folks with mental disabilities, on poor people, on Black people, on poor white people. It was a disaster, and it blew up, in front of the lights, only because one young nurse, one young person said, "This isn't right." She knew about a young Black woman, and so this is not the Black woman in Dolan's novel, but she bases her on this. What if there was a young Black nurse who actually, did this? This was another social worker, I think, who blew the whistle on them. So she wrote this beautiful novel. It's getting rave reviews. I reviewed it. I gave it a rave review in the Washington Post. But Dolan also teaches at American University, so she is a teacher as well as a writer of beautiful historical fiction.
And Tina, can I also say that we are proud that Dolan wrote one of the essays in our collective meeting at the table also.
She most certainly did.
I'm real proud of that.
Again,
yes.
she answered the call for us.
Yeah,
and she also, her first novel, if you want to go back, you should go back and read it. It's called Wench, Wench, and it will open your eyes to things you never saw, never knew. Our next faculty member is Nick Stone, who we all know is the author of Dear Martin, but also Nick Stone is just an absolute butterfly. She's a light, she always brings light to whatever she's doing. The kids love her. She's a youth
young adult author.
Thank you, young adult author. And she is spreading out to other things. She also is doing she is doing the comic book for the Black Panther's sister, Shari. She did comic book for that. She did the dialogue for the comic book there, and she is the first returning Sea Island writer retreater who returns as a faculty. She was at Sea Island Writers Retreat 2013, I think, and I think her first novel was published in 2014. As you can imagine, we're very proud of Nick Stone, and she's one of the people who had to fit us in, but she fit us in and made sure that she could come. And so when I talked to her, she said, "Well, let me talk to about 4 people and get back to you." So she has a number of levels that she has to go through, but she found time for us. I'm
okay. Let's go on to Regina.
Oh my goodness, Regina Taylor, you probably know as an actress, everything from the earlier TV show I'll Fly Away, where she played the maid and the mother of her own sons, who she took care of as well. It's a wonderful show. But she's also been in everything from she is also was in Lovecraft Country. She had a very, very, if you looked at Lovecraft Country, you remembered her as the great grandmother who was in flames with the smaller character. You looked at it?
No, I was going to say, so why do I want an actress to teach me how to write? What's she going to teach?
Okay, that is so wonderful. She's also a playwright, a well-known playwright. She has has a production on in her home state of Dallas right now, I do believe, and she has done a number of productions. One of the reasons that we want her to teach playwriting and to be here is that one of the things that we're looking for is facility in certain areas, and she certainly has facility in learning how to build a character from the feet up. She's done it as an actress. She's done it as a playwright. And so we certainly are going to, ask her to tell us about that, including the fact that she'll be leading a playwriting workshop. She's wonderful. She's also a friend of mine. I have admired her ever since, 1970. So I indeed admire her, maybe not that early, 1990s. I admired her very much now, and I appreciate her saying yes.
Because in the 1970s, you just had me.
That was just going to say exactly. Well, I'm always saying that was 10 years ago and it was 1970. So I was trying to give myself a little hint.
Yeah. Okay, so Dawn, talk about Dawn.
Oh my goodness. Dawn is one of my first little schoolgirls. Dawn wrote a beautiful novel called Only Twice I've Wished for Heaven. And this was in the 90s, and it sort of found me. You know how you send out books to writers to get blurbs, and it kind of found me a little while before the book was going to be published. And I went, oh my goodness, I read it, and I just went tearing through the book looking for the publisher because I wanted my name on the cover of her book because it was just that good. I wanted to say, this is a great book, you should read it. And so over time, Dawn has written 2 novels. She is an award-winning journalist, an award-winning columnist, and she's also a writer of nonfiction. And she is just published in the past year her memoir.
Memoir.
I know you all about the memoir.
I loved her memoir. I read it. It's
3
wonderful.
Girls from Bronzeville.
Yeah.
A truly African, I think it's a truly American tale of race. Wish I could remember.
I don't remember the whole title.
Okay, that's I can't remember the subtitle right off the top of my head. But it was also an award-winning and a highly reviewed and seriously taken piece of work. She's now working on her next work of memoir, but she's going to be able to join us to talk about memoir and creating. And we're going to ask you to sit in on that one as well.
I definitely will, of course.
Of course.
And Crystal.
Oh my goodness, bring up the real. I love Crystal so much. Crystal is a poet. You may know her from her latest work is Perfect Black. But she's from Kentucky, and she is part of the that sort of new Afro-Appalachian writers who are writing fiction, nonfiction, and definitely poetry. She's also the poet laureate of Kentucky, and she teaches. I think up until maybe recently, she taught at universities and colleges, and now she's concentrating on totally on her work, and she's finding time to come down to the Sea Islands to not only look at our poetry submissions, but also to lead the poetry workshops. And, maybe take the poets out for a little time on the beach. You know how poets are, so they may go out flitting somewhere. So she's an extraordinary writer, and she's going to be able to really, I think, add to what a lot of folks think of. She's also done narrative poem. So she's going to really add to what people think of who come there as poets and what they can do.
As we were preparing the Sea Island Writers Retreat and having meetings and talking to different people, young women kept saying to us, don't forget about poetry, because we love to write poetry. So I'm just excited that we have Crystal in the mix, and we're gonna teach poetry. So,
well, Wanda, as a matter of fact, you're the one who insisted upon it.
I did after we had those conversations, because the more I talked to people, the more they said, please include poetry. So we're coming to the end, but let's not forget to mention about how to apply. Can you talk about that?
Absolutely. Very, very important. Okay, that's right. You can apply on the website, and the website is SIWR 2022. Don't forget the 2022. SIWR2022.org. You use the link how to apply on the Facebook page.
On the home
page. On the homepage. And follow and engage with us on Facebook, Twitter, and IG. You can just follow along with the instructions. And if you know someone who might benefit from the workshop, please share share this with them as well, and on social media. Let people know about this. This is we had a good startup time, but we want to make sure that everybody who wants to be there and who should be there, is there. And the only way we can do that is y'all share this information with your friends and colleagues.
Okay, and finally, Tina, the total cost of the retreat is $2,500 plus a registration fee. Now, some people might scoff at this price, so tell us about the value of the cost of this retreat. What does it cover, and why is it priced this way?
Okay. Well, I have to tell you that our retreats in 2008-9 were about $1,800. Now we're up to $2,500, and that's been quite a few years ago. That's number one. Inflation, things cost more. The food costs more than we have to, feed, all those things. And so, but there is real value also, not just in the fact that it's $2,500, and we know people have to get their coins together. Sometimes they may not have that available right now, but the value is not only have we kept the cost down as much as we can. We've added probably three more instructors. We've expanded our faculty. We've also expanded our houses. Our housing where we're going to be. We're going to be on. It's on the beach, across the street from the beach. It's in walking distance. Just walk down the trail. And so we're going to that. We have that value of housing our retreaters in a very beautiful and a very evocative place. And also the fee it covers a lot of stuff, and that is 4 nights of accommodations, all meals and snacks, the workshop materials and lectures, the workshops themselves, critiques on all of our work. And that's what we get from accommodations and what the workshop really, will offer that you can put in your hand. We value our faculty, and creators need to be paid too. So we partially cover the cost of paying our faculty through our admissions fees. And also, we also have a number of good surprises for. We give great surprises from, if we just don't give a little goodie bag, you give you some stuff to take home. We give you some stuff to help you with your writing, to remember us, and to take that spirit of Sea Island Writers Retreat with you. So again, we are thrilled to offer this to you. We're thrilled that you even came on board tonight to listen to this, so you'll just know information is power. We say that all the time. As much information as, as much information as we possibly can. But I didn't get a chance. I'm sorry. Did I get a chance to thank our partners in Chromatic Black?
You can do that now.
Oh, thank you very much. All right. Thanks to our partners in this, Deborah. Chromatic Black, they generously supplemented the cost of the 2022 Sea Island Writers Retreat that helped to make this whole thing possible and make it as easy a process and as meaningful a process as possible. And this helps us keep the fees as low as possible as well. So we thank our partners.
Good. So Tina, thank you for inviting me to go on this journey with you for the 2022 Sea Island Writers Retreat.
Yes, to our guests, welcome. You're my pal.
We're having fun.
You're my person, Wanda.
And as we say on the podcast all the time, we're the hardest working 70-some-year-old women we ever saw. We're always working.
I think I'm working harder now than I did, 30 years ago.
Yeah, I know.
It's wonderful though. It's a real joy. Huh, Wanda?
Yeah. So to our guests, when you signed up for this session in Eventbrite, you probably noticed that there are 3 other discussions in this series of live events, one each in August, September, and October. We invite you to return to the website, siwr2022.org, and then click on events and be sure to register for the other discussions led by Tina, and each one will be with another writer. And so we want to say thank you for joining us. Good evening.
Fun, Wanda. Thank you.
Good evening and good writing to everyone.
Good writing.